Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm the Obscure Joe BT, and for today what I have in here it is Dead Cells. So Dead Cells is a new in the game from Motion Twin, and they are using the HGST engine. HGST engine, it's an engine that usually it is used in this type of games, while Motion Twin it is a developer that have been working since 2001, 2002, and already had developed games like La Brute, My Brute, Die Tonight, and for example Mush. Okay, but recently, I mean this month, they decided to release Dead Cells, which is their new game. And actually I was surprised to see that they sent me out a key to the game, and I decided to start my testing. Usually I don't test this type of 2D games, but since I started to perform benchmarks of my Intel integrated graphic cards, I thought it would be a good idea to try out a little bit the performance. So for the settings, this game only has available options like full screen windowed, which is borderless, and windowed. I do recommend you to use full screen, but I'm using borderless just for recording. You can enable VSync, which will lock you out at 60 frames per second in this case of our laptops, but usually VSync, what it does, it locks the frame rate to the hertz of the screen. And you have options like bright flashes, which if you disable it, disable like explosions and stuff like that. And you have an option for pixelated fonts, which I'm not really a fan. Also, you have an option for diets, which change the appearance of the food in the game, and you have this baguette, which I found really interesting. I think that French people will actually enjoy it, and the good thing about it is that I discovered that the Motion Twin, the developers behind this game, actually are French, so I think it makes entirely sense to exist in here. Now to the performance. Dead Cells, it is a game that actually it is a little bit more demanding than I was expecting. My desktop fared pretty well, but this laptop, actually what I got was an experience above 60 frames per second. In my case, I decided to test the second level, which is the Framerate of something, I don't really remember the name, but it's essentially the second level, and it is way more demanding than the rest of the levels that I did test in the game, and my performance was average of 93 frames per second and the 1% of 67. So it isn't really bad, to be honest. I mean, it's above 60 frames per second, it's perfectly playable. But I was kind of surprised because this is a 2D game. I wasn't really expecting to see frame rates under 100 frames per second. But still, I think the game fares pretty well, so it's absolutely playable. This first level, it is less demanding than the usual, but yeah, that second level, it is really demanding comparing to the rest of the levels that I've tried. So now let's talk a little bit more about the game. Alright, so let's go. Dead Cells, it is pretty much a side-scrolling game which generates the levels on its own way. So it means that, for example, we are currently on the first level. The first level will always have the same assets, okay, it's not going to change. But the way that the map is drawn, it is entirely different every time you start the game. The placement of the enemies will be entirely different, and the scenario will be different. Only the same assets will be used. Okay, so you can, if you look to the lower right side of the screen, you can see the level generating. So it's a little bit like Binding of Isaac. If you played Binding of Isaac, you probably will resemble a lot of stuff from this game, including the power-ups. You have some sword and some arrow, which you can evolve and get your own buffers to that. You have a lot of throwable items that you can use, and you can evolve a lot of stuff into your character too. So it seems a very interesting game, okay, and I think you should really try it, to be honest. It's not just because they offered me the key, it's because if you kind of like this type of games, if you like indie games, this seems like a really good game. And I've played indie games before like this that was bad optimized, but at least this one it's good. But seriously, if you liked Binding of Isaac, I'm pretty sure you are going to love this game. It's pretty much the same thing, but in a side-scrolling environment and with much more action. Okay, you have to be very quick sometimes to defeat certain opponents, especially the bosses of this game. They are very quick and complicated for me, but probably if you are adapted to these type of games, it should be easy for you. But for me, even on the first levels, I already had some trouble to try to defeat the bosses. So, interesting stuff in my opinion. There was more stuff that I wanted to talk about this game. I'm trying to resemble let's say, okay, you can also associate this game to something like Castlevania, for example. But let me add just some more information about the game. The game, when it was released on early access, was already having 11 levels, 2 bosses, 50 weapons or more and skills, 2 special powers, unlocking new areas, paths, so you have a lot of stuff into this game. It's very responsive in my opinion. The fighting system is really fun to have. If you like quick fighting skills, you can have a lot of fun. That is leaderboards for currently how fast you can beat the game, so it's amazing. This game also have some streaming stuff completely connected to the game, which should make a little bit more friendly for you to stream for the typical, you know, typical platforms like Twitch and probably YouTube. To be honest, I didn't test that because my internet connection sucks entirely. And well, of course, eventually you are going to get a few rage quits because, again, the game is not easy. Some people even call this game a little bit of Dark Souls lit, so that's more or less what you can expect about this game. So about that, I'm going to shut up entirely and I'm going to let you enjoy a little bit of the gameplay, the excellent soundtrack. And in case you are interested about this game, there is a link on the description for Steam. The game is a little bit expensive, to be honest. It costs 25 bucks, I think. After the release of Yakuza for 20 bucks, I think it's a little bit expensive. But if you are a sucker for these type of games, I'm pretty sure the price is right. And of course, if you can't pay right now, you can always... I'm pretty sure you will be finding this game later on a Humble Bundle or at a discount. And at least you will know a little bit about the game, okay? So guys, that's all that I want to talk about Dead Cells. Hope you did enjoy the video. Thank you a lot for the developers for sending me out a key of this game. It's actually very good. And I do hope to see you all very soon in another video. So thank you a lot for watching, and I do hope to see you soon. Keep enjoying the rest of the video because there is a lot more to be shown in it, okay? So goodbye guys, thank you.